The three most embarrassing mistakes you can make in Spanish. And yes, I have made all three of these in public. So the most embarrassing mistakes all carry some kind of innuendo about them, which is what makes them so embarrassing. Now, the first one I did is that I was talking to a friend in Spanish, and I said something like, "I'm excited to meet your mother tomorrow. You know, I've heard a lot about her." Now, the problem is I used the word excitado for excited, and it sounded pretty similar to me. Sometimes with vocabulary, you just go with what feels right. So I had excited, excitado. So I just went with it. Now, the problem is that excitado in Spanish does not mean excited. What it actually means is to be aroused. So really what I said to him was, "I'm aroused to meet your mother tomorrow." Now, this is obviously not what I was going for, not what I was intending to say. And he saw the humor in it and corrected me, but still, it was super embarrassing to make that mistake. So it's definitely one to avoid if you can help it. So I guess this begs the question then, what is the proper word for excited in Spanish? And it's a little bit surprising. The word is emocionado. It's kind of like that you feel emotion about something. So moral of the story, do not say excitado for excited in Spanish. Instead, use emocionado. On to number 2, and this one honestly was just as embarrassing as the last one. Again, I did this one too. So to say that I like in Spanish is me gusta. Me means to me and gusta means it is pleasing. So literally to me, it is pleasing. Me gusta. Now, there was one time around the dinner table and I said, "Me gusta John." We were talking about John and I meant to say, I like John. He seems like a nice guy. Now, the problem is that me gusta is normally only used to say that you like things and not necessarily to say that you like people. The reason why is because if you use me gusta when referring to a person, it means that you find that person physically attractive. So in a romantic sense. So with me saying me gusta John, what I actually said in Spanish to this table full of people was that I'm attracted to John. And this got quite a reaction, as you might imagine. And once again, it was very embarrassing. So the way that you innocently say that you like someone in Spanish is to use this phrase, and it is me cae bien. Literally, he or she falls on me nicely or lands on me softly. It's quite a poetic phrase. So me cae bien is how you express that you innocently like someone. So do not use me gusta. It means something very different. Number 3, sometimes it's not enough to just make one embarrassing mistake, but you have to make a second one immediately afterwards, just to compound everything. And this is exactly what I did. So on another occasion, after making an embarrassing mistake, I wanted to say, "I'm embarrassed." And I said, "Estoy embarasada." Again, this was another best guess at vocabulary. So I had embarrassed, embarasada, and I went with it. Now, people laughed. And the reason why they laughed is because embarazada does not mean embarrassed in Spanish. It actually means pregnant. So I basically announced to the group that I was pregnant. Now, the proper way to say that you are embarrassed in Spanish is estoy avergonzado. So it's kind of a mouthful, avergonzado. So this is the correct way to say I'm embarrassed and not to use estoy embarazada. I'm going to give you one more. So this is number 4 as a bonus. And I didn't actually make this embarrassing mistake. A student of mine did, and she wrote to tell me about it. Now, before I tell you what happened to her, honestly, it's pretty bad. It's just as bad as my ones, actually. Before that, I'd like to say that if you're struggling with your Spanish and your progress is slow, I have a course which I would like to give you, and it's a really good course. So it's got hundreds of 5-star reviews. It's all about getting you to start building sentences in less than an hour. So that's over on SpanishWithPaul.com, and I've left the link to it also in the description box. Okay, so now back to my poor student. So she was at the gym in like an indoor cycling class, where they get on the stationary bikes. And the class was full of guys for whatever reason on that particular day. And I think she might even have been the only female in that class. So it was hot and she was sweating, and she announced to the room, that she was hot from the exercise. And she said, soy or estoy caliente, one or the other. They're both as bad. So the room, full of Spanish speaking guys erupted in laughter at this. And the reason why they laughed, as she later found out, is that estoy caliente doesn't mean that you're feeling hot. What it actually means, and I'm not even going to say it, I'm just going to put up the slide so you can read it for yourself. Okay? It means this. And so that's why they all laughed. You can imagine saying that to a room full of guys. Now, what she should have said to say that I am hot was tengo calor. So this means I have heat. This is the correct, innocent way to say that you're hot in Spanish, but definitely not to announce that estoy caliente. Tell me in the comments which ones you think were the worst of those. If you liked the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And don't forget to give that free course a go either. I'm pretty sure that you'll love it. So I'll see you next time.